Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Christopher Media, let's make some noise. Welcome to Beer Nuts, a weekly excursion into the world of craft beer, brought to you by MichiganBeerGuide.com. And now, here are the Beer Nuts.
Welcome to Beer Nuts, number 152. Oh man, it's a big one. This might be up there with one of the most crowded episodes we've ever had. But it's crowded in a good way, because it's going to be a lot of beer. We got at least an 8-pack rolling through tonight. So I'm just going to kick it to JR, and he's kind of going to tell you the theme.
Yeah, we're going to do our Thanksgiving Cellar raid. So everybody's celebrating Thanksgiving this week. So we're digging deep into the cellar for some good treats, and we got some doozies here. Since we're so many of us crowded around this Thanksgiving table, no, we don't have any turkey, but we got plenty of beer. So we're going to forego our normal introductions. I just want to always reiterate that we're not pretentious beer snobs. The Beer Nuts podcast simply exists to introduce more good people to more good beer. And we got plenty of people and plenty of beer to celebrate Thanksgiving with. So let's go right over to Dugout, who has our quote of the week, and then he's going to start things off with the first beer of the episode.
All righty. Hi, everyone. This is Dugout in Clawson, Michigan. Our quote for this evening is, "Stop trying to make everyone happy. You're not beer." So I'm going to kick this off with 2016 from the brewery, Bruery, Share This Mole. And this is it's an Imperial Stout. Like I said, 2016 Imperial Stout with ancho chilies, chipotle peppers, cinnamon, vanilla, and cacao nibs. Okay, we'll get this into the glass. And this pours a thick and muddy black, dark. There's still quite a bit of head retention on this. And just kind of a whitish tan colored head. So on the nose, I definitely get some pepper on the nose. A little bit of smoke from the chipotle. Definitely getting some chocolate as well. I get a little bit of extra spice as well. So let's get this guy in my mouth. So right up front, I got some nice chocolate in here. Definitely some good chocolate. I believe a lot of the pepper is faded, but there's still a little hint of it. Definitely no spice as far as the pepper goes. I would say there's a little bit of tobacco to it. It's faint vanilla, and the cinnamon is nice. And a lot of times you get an aged cinnamon beer, and that's all you get. You know, the cinnamon stays on and on. But so obviously the cinnamon was done in this very well. There's a little bit of that can go a long way in a beer. I believe this is at 11.1%. And it's overall, I said this has survived the journey really, really well. I did not have this in my cellar. I found it on a shelf at a store. And when I picked it up, I saw the vintage of 2016. And I thought, oh, this is perfect for the show. And fingers crossed, and it came through. I would definitely get this if you see it. It's apparently $1 of this bottled purchase. I don't know if this still goes on, 2 years or 4 years after the release or 3 years after the release, however long it's been. $1 of this beer goes towards a mobility program for people in Mexico to be able to buy wheelchairs that need them. So pretty great cause. Really good beer. I would have loved to have had this fresh, but like I said, it's survived the journey pretty well.
It's always fun to have those finds, I know, and it's neat, that you found some of the things that are still there, or maybe even better than they were, and then things that have faded. And fresh would have probably been great too with the chili, because I love beers with chili pepper in them.
I do too. I like the flavor of them as opposed to the heat. The heat can be a bit much, although I brewed my fair share of them, and I think I saw one from about 3 or 4 years ago that had like devil's tongue pepper in it. I just remember that beer would just melt your face off. But this has none of that. The use of the peppers is done well. I mean, using a chipotle pepper in a beer can probably be pretty overwhelming with the smoke flavor. So it's just everything is done well, but it's the brewery, and I don't think I've ever had anything really bad from them.
Well, yeah, I'd like to chime in. I was at the brewery last night in Placentia, California, and I slept very well last night. They had Black Tuesday 2019. They had a Vermont Sticky Maple that was out of this world. I had it on Nitro even. So happens it's Tuesday, and it was Tuesday, was another selection. And white chocolate with cherries. There's one more in my flight, but I'm still shaking off the cobwebs because that was quite a marathon. And I drank my dinner last night, too, because by the time I decided I was going to get food, the food truck closed. But, yeah, as you said, there's really nothing bad from the brewery, every single thing I have ever had. And I was very interested to learn that they have some nice IPAs and some hazy IPAs at that, a little like they actually call it offshoot brewing, which is a part of the brewery family, but that's what their label is for their IPAs. So good stuff, man. Glad that you had a brewery selection on, because that was like a bucket list visit for me. It was very, very lived up to all the expectations and then some.
Very nice.
All right. Well, let's keep it moving. I think Greg is next in Dearborn, Michigan. Welcome, Greg.
Oh, good evening, guys. Hello, everybody. Greg in Dearborn, Michigan, as John said. Happy Thanksgiving and happy Cellar for us. So the one I chose here was from Other Half Brewing Company. I believe it's New York City or Brooklyn, New York, something like that. And this is a collaboration with Three Sons Brewing out of Florida. This is called The Game is Thick. And this is their Imperial Stout with peanut butter and coffee. So this comes in at a heaping 14.5%. The bottle is 1 pint, 0.9 fluid ounces. So pretty. It kind of looks like an 80s or 90s game, font, squiggly line label wrap around. Pretty cool stuff. Other Half always has some pretty cool labels. So, pour it in the glass. It is dark and thick looking. I mean, she poured out. You couldn't see anything through it. I mean, even in the glass, there's nothing to be seen on the other side. There's no, like normal stouts, you could have maybe like a little reddish hue tint, but this one is dark as could be. So, for 14.5, she didn't hold on to that tan khaki head for too long. And so what's left is a nice glass grabber of alcohol eggs, and she is a beaut. So first smell here, boozy. It's the first thing. It's like a dark chocolate boozy. I'm not picking up a lot of peanut butter or coffee per se, but very dark booziness to it. Maybe a little like at least on the nose, maybe getting some dark fruits or something like that. It's kind of interesting. Smells great. First sip, rather. Okay. Oh, wow. Coats the mouth excellently. I mean, it's a thick beer. Getting a little more of that dark fruit, but very dark, roasty chocolate. Dark chocolate. The peanut butter is more like for me, like a dark roasted peanut, maybe. It's really delicious. Coffee's leaving a little nice bitterness to it at the very end, but it's not too harsh. I think this came out around, this is I think a 2019 deal, but this came back out in like May or something like that, or late April. So I imagine a little bit of that coffee has faded. But about to burp pretty big here, but this is delicious. I picked this up from a friend, and really delicious. What else to say? Gorgeous beer. I'm going to be feeling all this 14.5 tonight, but it's certainly worth it.
Sounds pretty good to me. Anybody else have any comments?
I'm sure not a lot of people have tried this one, but I definitely would highly recommend anybody seeking it out. Delicious stuff.
Alrighty then. Thank you for that. So we're going to continue in the state of Michigan, move down south a little bit to Uncle Pete.
Hey, JR, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody out there listening. I hope you're going to enjoy some great beers for your Thanksgiving holiday. I know I'm thankful for the Beer Nuts and the Beer Nuts podcast. 152 episodes now, and it's been great to make some new friends. So cheers to you guys, and cheers to our listeners. So what I've got tonight is a North Coast Brewing Company in Fort Bragg, California. It's up on the north coast of California, called Old Stock Ale, and this is a vintage 2014, so a 5-year-old old ale, English ale. And, these beers are, something that I like to keep in my cellar, and I like to get them out once in a while. I know JR and Doug and the others appreciate a good old ale, and so a 2014 vintage after 5 years might be considered a youngster to some people. As far as cellar aging goes. But, these old stock ales from North Coast are meant to be stored for a bit. Of course, you can drink them fresh. I'm not saying you can't, and I'm sure they're very good fresh. But as you lay them down and store them, let them collect some dust, keep them dark, keep them cool, I think they're going to, really change and mellow out with age. They're not a really highly hopped beer, so I think what we're going to find when I pour this is a lot of the emphasis is going to be on the malt and the characteristics from the malt. So let's give it a pour and see what we got. All right, just coming out of the bottle, this is coming out at a beautiful, beautiful, really dark copper color with a very nice foamy head on it. It's got hues of red in it and copper. Nice one-finger head in the glass, and it's not going anywhere. It's staying right there. Let's get a good whiff. Almost has a little bit of like almost a wine characteristic in the nose. Definitely some caramel. Wow. And I think last time I had an old stock ale, that's the first thing I remember saying was, wow. You take a great sip of that, and you get a really nice upfront sweetness, a little bit of burnt sugar, kind of a toffee kind of a flavor. Boy, this is really good. It's, what did it say here? It was a 11.2% alcohol, I think it said, something like that. And it's not really hot as far as the alcohol goes, but this has a really strong malt backbone, really caramely. There's a lot of sweetness still present in it. And I can imagine this beer, lasting for a good while yet on the shelf. There's nothing wrong with this 5-year-old beer. The color is beautiful. And it's just got a nice, slick, smooth mouthfeel to it. If you like toffee and caramel and burnt sugar, maybe even some, it's almost kind of like sort of brandy-ish or kind of wine-ish. Already the head on top has dissipated, but I do get just a really nice, long-lasting sweet flavor, nice sweet brown sugar kind of a flavor to it. So highly recommended. North Coast Brewing. Some of you might be familiar with some of their other beers, and they've got like Old Rasputin Imperial Stout is always a good one. Brother Thelonious, you get your Belgian ales from Brother Thelonious and Prankster. So I highly recommend North Coast Brewing beers, particularly Old Stock, and some of the others I just mentioned. So, JR, I know you've had these Old Stock beers and you're a big fan of Old English ales, so if you have any comments or want to wait until later, we can talk about it some more later.
Well, I had a 2012 I was going to do for this episode, but I think you did a pretty good review of that, and I think it'll be pretty similar. So I'm going to call an audible because one of my California buddies picked up something that I think will be a little bit, we'll switch it up since we already have a stock ale, but I love these. I love to age them. This 2012 I'll still be able to drink it. But yeah, it's just a wonderful beer, great beer that stands the test of time. As you said earlier, things fade and things get better. Well, with this kind of a style of beer, usually things get better with age. And I always like your descriptions. There's always some dark fruits and sherry-like flavors that come through. It may be considered oxidized, but some of those oxidation effects produce very good positive flavors that I very much enjoy. So,
yeah, I don't get a lot of oxidation on this one as of yet, but I have some other beers in my cellar that I might like to stand this up next to, like Founder's Curmudgeon or the Curmudgeon's Better Half. Those are all similar kind of beers that could be compared with this.
You can drink these things after 10 years of aging and still enjoy them. So this 2012,
hopefully I will.
7 years. They're great beers to take, buy a 4-pack and just stash it in your cellar. Drink one when it's fresh.
And these are great ones to break out at holidays like Thanksgiving.
Amen. Perfect choice and great review. All right. Well, moving around the Thanksgiving table, I think we're going over to Allen Park, Michigan. Back up a little bit to the north of Pete. So, David, welcome back. Haven't heard from you in a while. Hope things are well.
Yeah, it's been a while. I've been busy. I moved around a couple different breweries now. I'm at Brew Detroit now, brewing some great beer over there. All right. But yeah, so the beer that I've decided to review tonight is Leinenkugel's Snowdrift Vanilla Porter. And one of the reasons I decided to choose this beer is that I bought it literally for Thanksgiving dinner last year, and it's been in my cooler ever since. I had a 12-pack, and this is the last one left. But also the fact that, since working at Brew Detroit, we brew and make vanilla BJP for Atwater Brewery. So, and I do like that beer. I like that beer a lot. But I think I remember thinking that the Leinenkugel's Snowdrift Vanilla Porter was a better version of a very similar beer. So I wanted to kind of rehash that and come here with you guys tonight and either verify that or, go against it. So I'm here trying this Snowdrift Vanilla Porter from Leinenkugel's, and it seems to be, well, I'm not going to lie, I already poured it, I already tasted it, and I've already gone a little in depth with it. But yeah, so I'm enjoying it a lot. I guess I'll go straight into the review of it. So, one of the things that I don't remember from this beer from the last time I opened a bottle of it last Thanksgiving was that as soon as I sniff the aroma, I get licorice. I get like a black kind of licorice, like an anise kind of flavor to it, and I like it. I'm usually not that big on black licorice or something like that, but in this, it's not very strong and it's barely there. I think that has to do with the vanilla, that they add. It says right on the bottle that it's aged on real vanilla. So I'm guessing that's where the black licorice anise flavor comes from. And then when I taste it, the one thing that I kind of missed out on last year, I didn't really notice how much of it is. It has a really dark roasty flavor to it. It's not necessarily smoky, but it's in that realm of a smoky flavor. It's got a real if you really taste it, you get that smoky flavor to it. But all that being said, that description kind of makes it sound like it's a really heavy, deep beer, but it's really not. When you actually do drink it, it actually has a really light feel to it, and it's really, for lack of better words or for other descriptions I've heard, it's a sessionable beer. Or JR, like you said, it's crushable. I know you used to like that word a lot too. It's really a beer you could have more than one of, because there's a reason why I only have one left from last Thanksgiving. I'm pretty sure we drank them all. I just ended up bringing one home and stashed it in my cooler, and now I'm enjoying this one here. So I really like that idea that it is a porter, but it's a crushable porter that still has a lot of flavor to it. Because there are some darker beers like a Guinness. A Guinness is a dark beer, but it's really, really light, which I love Guinness. Who doesn't? But it's really, it doesn't have that much flavor to it. But when you get into these craft beers and stuff like that, and Leinenkugel's is kind of, maybe a little more macro than the rest of you guys would like. But yeah, So I'm happy with this beer. Like it came out really clean. It's got a nice chocolate coffee taste to it. It's in a bottle. It's 6%, and yeah, I enjoy it. If anyone else has ever tried this before, pipe in, let me know. But I have only positive things to say about it.
I've had this beer at Christmas a couple times. It is aptly named Snowdrift Porter. It is definitely a warm weather beer. I enjoy it. And Line and Kugel, they were one of the first craft breweries to kind of go, to go worldwide, so to speak. It always had a soft spot in my heart for Liney, so it is a good beer. I agree with you there, Dave, especially if you're into vanilla, if you're into porters, you're into the darker beers. I mean, this is the time of year for them, so I do not disagree with your review, sir.
Sounded delicious. I'm going to have to look out for this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they still have them. Like I said, I bought this 12-pack last year, but I'm pretty sure they're still in production. Actually, I haven't double-checked that, but I would assume they are.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Good afternoon. Would you like to try a free sample of our double fudge brownie?
Oh, sure. That's very good. I'll just take one more, just to be sure. Yep, still very good.
Some things never change, like never being able to take just one free sample. And Geico saving folks lots of money on their car insurance.
Is that macadamia nut I taste? Let me take one more.
Sir,
Yeah, I thought so.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
New year, new budgets. Every small business has unique needs. And when you partner with a Dell Technologies advisor, you get real-time tailored advice. They'll even give you a free consultation on your servers and storage devices to develop a custom solution to help improve your company's productivity. Plus, get special financing with Dell Business Credit and big savings on business computers with Intel Core processors. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. So now that we're done with all the Michigan beer nuts, we're going to have a little, we're going to do our hipster tipster segment of the show where we talk about brewery news and craft beer news. And as much as we wanted to just continue along here with so many guests, we decided there was some big news this week that we had to share with you all, and that's that New Belgium was bought out by Kirin. I think there's still some steps that have to take place before this comes final. But as many people know, New Belgium is an employee-owned brewery with an employee stock option plan. So I don't know how that works out, although everything I've read in the press says that every one of the 300-plus employees at New Belgium will be getting $100,000 or more towards their retirement. So that's a nice incentive for everybody to, I guess, vote for the buyout, but who knows? Maybe, I don't know whether this vote's taken place already or whether it's going to, or whether they don't have enough stock to thwart the move, but everything I've read is it's pretty much a done deal. And so, as we always say, it's kind of a sad day when we lose an independent craft brewer to one of the big breweries, but in some ways it can, in some cases it can be positive, in other cases not so much. So one of these things we're just going to have to wait and see. One of our favorite breweries on Beer Nuts is Founders, and they've had some challenges in the past, but I think they still crank out good beer, and at the end of the day, that's probably what will impact New Belgium more than the buyout is, will the quality still be there? So big news in the brewing industry, and we wanted to share that with you. We'll keep you posted as more things develop, but it does look like another domino has fallen in the, another big brewer is no longer going to be part of the Brewers Association and considered independent. So that's the way the industry is going these days, and we'll see what happens. But again, our mission is to introduce more good people to more good beer, so maybe a larger company with bigger, deeper pockets will get more good beer into more people's hands, so we will reserve judgment. So that being said, let's get right back to that Thanksgiving table. We still got 4 more beers to review, and we're going to go to Chris, who is in Iowa City, Iowa tonight.
Hawkeye Country. That's right. I'm in Iowa City, Iowa. being redundant here, but it's because I've been drinking ahead. I have chosen to go local, and by local I mean super local. Beer from right here in Iowa City from Big Grove Brewery. It's called Big Ed. And I think it's fitting because we're talking about, we're sitting around a table and there's a whole bunch of us. On the label, it's one of those name tags. It says, "Hello, my name is," and it's got Big Ed. Apparently, this is it's a hazy double IPA. It's a double version of a beer that they have called Easy Eddie. It's double dry hopped with Simcoe Mosaic and Sabro hops. It is 7.8 ABV. I poured it into the glass. I mean, this thing it is a nice golden color, but it's somewhere in between golden and yellow. A nice white head that's still kind of hanging out, kind of like a seafoam kind of head. And when I poured this thing, I mean, it filled the room here with. I mean, you're smelling pineapple, you're smelling dank, you're getting a little bit of grapefruit. And it's the same thing when you put your nose in it. Put your nose in it. I mean, you're just getting a lot of that dank though, and taking a sip. It's clean. It's crisp. Oh man, this might be. We've been doing this show for a while. This might be one of the best IPAs I've personally had. There's pineapple up front. It's like grapefruit in the middle, and then right at the end, that dank kicks in. This is a. Going to use it again in this show. This is very crushable for 7.8. I mean, this beer is. This is. Steal one of your terms here, Doug. This is off the charts. I mean, this is really, really good. So if you ever have a chance you run into Big Grove Brewery, not sure how far it gets out of the state of Iowa, but I mean, this is awesome. Big Ed, delicious. I am very happy with this choice.
All right, great brew from the heartland there. Thanks for sharing, Chris. So now we are going to the world-famous 12th Street Stumble Inn in Huntington Beach, California, just 2 blocks from the Pacific Ocean. And we have some special guests with us here. We're the guests because they're the hosts of the Stumble Inn. So at the very end of the show, we will introduce them. But for now, we go to our go-to guy out here in Southern California, Steve V. So welcome, Steve.
So, like I said, my choice for tonight is from Alpine Brewery, and the whole reason why I chose it was because I wanted to. I knew that JR was going to be here and we're going to be sharing tonight's episode, so I wanted to give him a taste of some Southern California beer. And so this beer, this brewery is out of San Diego, and the beer I chose from is Pure Hoppiness. It's 8.8% alcohol content. The pour was that mine? It's mine.
No, fighting for it.
So we're fighting for it. So I poured some for us, and we've been drinking it already. And like I said, so the color on it is like a like a regular copper. When I poured it, had not much of a head to it. It was very mellow, depending on how you poured it into your glass. But the smell of it, you kind of get this caramel flavor to it. Drinking it, we're getting a lot of the hops from it. In their description, they do a lot of. They say they hop it in every stage, and then when they're done hopping it, they add some more hops to it. So, hence their name, Pure Hoppiness. But it drinks really smooth. And even though it's at 8%, it's not that overbearing. You get like a kind of a perfume taste to it at the end of it, but nothing that's distracting from the taste of the beer. Very good beer. It's like one of these ones you can drink on a nice fall day, as we are here in Southern California. So I'm glad I got to share it with JR.
And I'm glad too, because it's delicious. And I don't know the IBUs on this, but I got to say it's probably 100 or more. This is a dugout. You would love this beer. This is a punch in the mouth hop.
61.
Oh, it's only 61. Well, it seems like a lot higher, but it's a hop bomb, and I'm really enjoying it. It says on the I got to read from the bottle. I always do that. Find your hoppy place We're a small town brewery nestled in the foothills of the mountains just outside of San Diego. From IPAs to small batch sours, we've been crafting high quality ales since 1999, known as the home of pure hoppiness. People travel from near and far to try our special brews. Now you can bring home a little taste of hoppiness from Alpine. So this says hops are happily added at every stage to create this mega double IPA with aromas of citrus, pine, and caramel sweetness. And this is the true definition of a West Coast IPA. Certainly appropriate since we are 2 blocks from the Pacific Ocean. So awesome beer, Steve.
Glad you enjoyed it.
All right. Well, out here on the left coast, I brought 1 bottle of beer from my cellar for this episode, and it was the North Coast Old Stock Ale 2012 vintage. But I'm going to call an audible since Uncle Pete already reviewed the stock ale. Can you guys hear me? Uh-oh.
Yes, sir.
You were cutting out.
Are we good now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Edit that out. Okay, so I'm going to call an audible because Uncle Pete already reviewed an old stock ale. I'm going to put my 2012 back in the cellar, or actually probably just drink it later. Maybe not, though. We got a pretty big beer coming up. But it's great to be here with friends out here in the left coast, out here in Huntington Beach, California, at the world-famous 12th Street Stumble Inn. So, and my good friend Z here happened to pick up a few local things, and I particularly picked one that struck me as being very interesting. So instead of the stock ale I had planned for, we are going to introduce a beer from the King Harbor Brewing Company, locally here, and I guess it's near Redondo Beach. And this beer is called King Swirly.
I love it.
It's their 4th anniversary beer, handcrafted on the California coast. It's a really nice looking bottle with blue wax. So, ooh, wax, right? Bourbon barrel aged Imperial Dark Ale. It shows up online as a brown ale, but most of the reviews I read say it drinks more like a stout. But it's brewed with cocoa nibs, vanilla beans, cold brewed coffee, and lactose. So let's just dig right into this thing. We've got multiple people here that can review it with us. So Steve V is going to take a sip. So I just poured some into my snifter.
Oh, it's lovely.
It's a
creamy.
It's a nice. Looks really good. Not a little bit of lacing on the side, but the head dissipates. The head disappears pretty quickly on this. I'm definitely getting some booze on the aroma, a little bit of bourbon. And I definitely smell the coffee too. So let's just take a sip. This just when you smell it, you can't wait to taste it. Really nice mouthfeel on it. It's not full-bodied, but it's probably 3/4 full-bodied. It's between medium and full. Definitely taste the cocoa. The coffee is probably next, and then I definitely get a little vanilla finish on it. It's really a lovely beer here, and the lactose gives a little bit of sweetness, almost like it's a real winner. It's really enjoyable. The ABV, I believe, is 10.8 on it, I think.
It's a beauty.
10.8%.
Yeah.
So let me read the little story on the bottle. It says, this year, King Swirly decided to spend a few months getting weird in the barrels before he came out to party, which means he missed the anniversary. But we won't hold it against him. Like all beers, it's entirely up to them when they are ready to drink. King Swirly popped his head out of a barrel, checked the surf forecast, saw that we didn't have a swell on the horizon, and decided he'd rather sleep through spring than deal with another flat spell. So summers here in the south are starting to show up along with the warm water. King Swirly is done with hibernating. Let's party. So this was released in 2018. I think that King Swirly is their annual anniversary beer, but as you heard from this particular, I guess, number 4, that it wasn't ready when they had their anniversary. So rather than bottle it anyway and see, just go with it, they're like, nope, we're going to let it sleep a little longer, and the brewers determine when it's ready. And they have done wonderful things, because this is really happy that we called an audible and changed up to this, because everybody here is enjoying it. Anybody else like to comment? Z, my friend Z here, who's our host tonight, picked this one up today at a store.
So we picked it up because of the name, right?
King Swirly. Well, anybody that's been in college or in a fraternity knows what a swirly is. I don't think I need to go into that, but
no. But the history between John and I is back in 1981. I sold his fraternity beer, and 38 years later, we're still friends.
Amen, brother.
Amen.
And we also worked for competing beer distributors a few years later. And I lost touch with Z for a year or two, and then I was working for a distributor that sold Molson, and Chris walked into the room for a Molson presentation, and we have rekindled our friendship ever since, and it's great. It's a great thing. So glad to be here at the Stumble Inn, which is Z's, I guess, your home.
This
home
is
bar.
my man cave. There are no basements by the beach, right? So this is the man cave. It just happens to be a 20 by 8 shed in the backyard. So it's perfect. You can look it up on Facebook, the 12th Street Stumble Inn, and you can see where we're all drinking tonight. But this swirly, this king of swirly right here, this is a beauty. I haven't had anything like this in quite a long time. It's creamy. It has a nice boozy, chocolatey. This is dessert. This is cigar world. This is the end of the day. Before you retire, you have one of these and go, whew, might need an insulin shot, but it's beauty.
Amen. Yep.
Yeah, I see your picture all over their site there, Steve. You must be in the in crowd there.
Am I intoxicated?
Oh, you must be, yeah. Looks like everybody is.
Steve, any comments? You're tasting it too?
Well, I'm just jealous the way that Chris and JR, look at each other when they drink this beer so longingly, lovingly, and they're going to be rekindling their friendship here. But yeah, it's you get the sweetness initially, but then towards the end you get the kind of like the coffee bitterness comes in and kicks. It's something I wouldn't want to drink the whole bottle. I'm glad I'm sharing it with everybody because it's strong and it'll set you back.
Go big or go home.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is the last beer of the evening, right? That's kind of where it should be.
It should be, but not tonight.
No,
because we got one more, and it's a really big beer. Maybe not as big in some ways as others, but it is a Magnum. So, Z, I'm going to turn it over to you and Kevin.
So I work for Anchor, and we do Anchor and Sapporo and the Unibrew beers, all the beautiful beers from Unibrew up in Chambly, Quebec. But the Anchor Brewery in particular, every year we make our holiday beer. It's our Christmas ale. This is a 2015, and it's a Magnum, so it's 1.5 liters.
It's a huge beer.
It's a big one. It's my coworker here, Kevin. He cellared this. Kevin, step up here and tell us how you kept this baby.
How's it going, guys? So, as you cellar any beer, you want to keep it in a nice temperature-controlled environment, pretty much laid down on its side, and keep it away from light and any extreme heats or colds, and just kind of forget about it until you're ready to drink it. Just a couple notes I'll throw in there with the Anchor Christmas. It is a beer that ages really well. However, it's something that you don't want to really age past 3 or 4 years. It'll start to blend together a little bit and just kind of lose its spiciness and kind of what makes it unique. Every year the recipe changes a little bit. What's cool about the Christmas beer is it's something that we've been brewing since 1975. So this is our 44th year brewing the Christmas beer. We were the first company to do a repeating seasonal beer, which is really cool on top of that. So every year the recipe changes a little bit, some spice notes and whatnot. And I have to throw a big shout out to the artist who does the label every year. The label changes along with the beer. So James Stitt, who has been doing the label since 1975, he's a San Francisco local. Much love to you, James, and thank you for all you've done. Our current brewmaster, Scott Ungerman, has done an amazing job with the 2019, even though we're trying the 2015. This year's beer is maybe one of the best Christmas great ales that I've had to date, but this 2015, after it's been aged, you guys tell me, tasty?
Oh, delicious.
Good stuff, yeah.
And the other thing is that the tree on the label changes every year, and it's an evergreen tree that is native to the state of California. So I don't know what tree is, probably have better eyes than ear. It's the
Can you say that? You know Latin? Anyone knows Latin? This is the Cedrus
diorda.
Yeah, Cedrus diorda. You can Google that sucker up. Quite a nice tree. But it's also a great beer. It pours really dark, nice. Hold it up to the light, you get that amber, very dark amber hue. Very tight bubbles for an anchor. This one is really nice.
Yeah, it's held its carbonation well.
Yeah.
Sometimes the spicy beers turn me off because you get that heavy clove and those Christmas. I know a lot of us with brewers but they have just the right level of spice here that it complements the beer. It doesn't overpower it. Because I know that I've had some that you just taste it and it's like a clove bomb or something. This is like the beer is first and then the spices complement what you're tasting, and it's always a treat every Christmas when you get these. But it's a huge treat. You get one with a little bit of age on here, 2015, and I can't imagine there's too many of these around per episode. Any final comments?
No, I will say that what I'm really surprised, the balance. It is so mellow and balanced. It's not we've had a couple in-your-face beers this evening, and this one is it's perfect.
So, guys,
Cheers,
if I could
everybody.
comment for a second, I've had this year's Anchor Christmas. It was we were drinking it on Halloween when we were passing out candy to the kids, and I thought that was great. And it was actually fantastic, really fantastic. Anchor is my first craft brew from 1983. I had an Anchor Porter, and it blew me away. And as Chris would say, it's off the charts, But a friend of mine was moving sometime in like 2002, and he had a bottle of 1991 Anchor Christmas, and it was a Magnum. And he asked if I wanted it, and I said, "Oh, hell yeah, absolutely." And I sat on it for a couple more years, so I don't think I opened this till 2004. And I think back in the day, there were a lot more identifiable spices put into those beers. There was a lot more clove and cinnamon, more Christmas type spices. So when I opened that beer, everything did kind of melt together, but it was fantastic. I mean, all the spices had combined, but had combined in a good way. I don't know that I think he just had that bottle sitting in his kitchen up above his cabinets for, it wasn't on its side or anything. It wasn't in a cellar. It was just out there. And it was one of the best bottles of beer I think I've ever had.
I'm muted. Go ahead.
No, that's really great to hear. These beers do hold up. I'm amazed that it held up that well, just because you don't hear of that often, but it is a very well-made product. We've been very pleased with the Christmas ale and how it's something that's longed for by the retailers, the distributors, the customers, and we're really happy to be selling this beer.
Yeah, and it's also regular Anchor Steam, which I believe is a California Common, and a truly unique beer that really no one can emulate because of where it's brewed and how it's brewed. Was when I worked at Foreman Distributing back in the day. That was probably the first craft beer I really fell in love with as a sales rep way back in that's probably 1990, 91. So
arguably, between the Yuengling Brewery and the Anchor Brewery, both historic breweries. If you haven't had a chance, please visit both of those. But one would say that Yuengling is the East and Anchor is the start of craft beer in the West.
Amen. Well, I think everybody is stuffed by now from the Thanksgiving meal we just had, even though it's all been liquid. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Make sure you eat some turkey and stuffing, but save room for some good beer after that, and watch a lot of football and drink a lot of beer and eat a lot of turkey. So closing comments, anybody? Any other beer nuts want to add anything in?
Yeah, this is Doug out. I do want to say one more thing. I mean, I don't think we're doing the holiday get together this year, and this is and we've done that for quite a few years running. We may do a smaller version of it. I'm not sure, but it's great to have so many people on this episode and move through such amazing beers so quickly, and just enjoy doing the show. And even if we don't get to the holiday one, then this will be our holiday.
Amen. And I've moved away from Michigan. I'm farther away from you guys, but we really are going to focus on trying to get us all together, maybe for the Great American Beer Festival next year, maybe for one of the Michigan Brewers Guild festivals Steve V and I can come up for. We'll make it happen, but we do consider all our Beer Nuts family one happy family, and so from our family to yours, happy Thanksgiving and happy holiday season coming up. And again, more good beers to more good people. That's what we're about.
Amen.
Amen.
Yes. Well, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Make sure you check us out. Show us what you're drinking on Twitter at Beer Nuts Podcast. Also on Instagram at Beer Nuts Podcast. There's an email address if you'd like to email us what you're drinking, but emails for old people. Check us out. We try to do these every week, but since we're all spread out now, maybe every couple weeks. But we're always going to bring you new shows. All right. We're good beer, good people. Thanks everybody for listening. And JR, I believe it's time to go down south.
Well, as they say in old Mexico City,
You can go from a hobby in your free time to a passion you do full time. From a film lover to a filmmaker.
Action.
At Fairleigh Dickinson University, go for what you love. Visit fdu.edu today.
ChristopherMedia.net.
If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for listening, and thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.